The German military behemoth is waking up again, and the world's not ready for it, especially Russia. After Germany's crushing defeat in World War II, it was cut up into two countries, East Germany and West Germany. East Germany stayed under Russian rule pretty much for about 45 years. West Germany was under Allied rulership until 1949. Eventually, by 1955, Germany was allowed to join NATO under the condition that they could form a fairly sizable military, but only for self-defense. They were not allowed to have nuclear weapons, and they, of course, could not do anything that would be considered aggressive militarily. In fact, today, even though East and West Germany have reunited, this country is still not allowed to have nuclear weapons, and they still have been under a pretty pacifist doctrine. But with Russia's aggression into Ukraine lasting for 3 years and a great deal of doubt being sown into American military aid to the country, it looks like Germany's going to have to step up with its own munitions and overall military tech production. And they could do it. Germany is the world's third largest economy with an annual GDP of about $4.7 trillion. Do you see Russia anywhere on this chart? They're the world's fourth largest manufacturer with a total annual output of about $800 billion, while Russia has a quarter of that, $204 billion. Now, this doesn't mean that Germany can start outproducing Russia militarily very quickly. It would take some time, but it's something that Germany could accomplish. Right now, Germany's defense chief is getting that ball rolling today. Right now, outside of Russia, France is Europe's #1 weapons producer, but Germany has just devoted about $100 billion to a massive military overhaul, and I bet you in 2 to 3 years they'll overtake France, and most likely Russia. Now, nobody can deny that the scale at which the Russian military is producing equipment is massive. They are producing 3 million rounds of artillery every single year and at least 100 main battle tanks every single month. These tanks and artillery shells are for older equipment, not much cutting edge, but the sheer volume is enough to cause a lot of destruction. Now, Germany is producing about 1/10 of what Russia does, about 350,000 artillery shells per year, but they're aiming to get that number up to 750,000 to 1 million by the end of 2025, and it's possible. If Germany had to switch to a wartime or a semi-wartime economy, even if they only hit 1 million munitions produced every single year, they produce much higher quality artillery shells and overall equipment than Russia. The sheer volume of precision-guided weapons or just better overall equipment would turn the tide of battle for Ukraine. Let's compare that artillery number between Germany and Russia. Like I said, Russia has the artillery supremacy. Now, one of the main sources of artillery fire come from self-propelled howitzers. That's literally just howitzers that you can drive around. So imagine you go to one spot, you blast a lot of artillery, and then you drive 10 miles away, you blast more there. Russia's best self-propelled howitzer is the 2S-35 Koalitsya SV. The thing about these bad boys is there's maybe 10 of them, and we don't have any conclusive data on their efficacy. This is just from what Russia is telling us. But we do know that Russia has at the very least about 3,000 overall self-propelled howitzer cannons of varying quality. Now, Germany produces among the best, or if not the very best, self-propelled howitzer cannon, the PZH-2000. Unfortunately, they have maybe 150 of them, and 80 of them are most likely operational. But the PZH-2000 has a lot more accuracy, a much longer range, and more survivability than the Koalitsya. It would just take a few hundred PZHs to wipe out the entirety of Russia's artillery capability. That's how much better the PZH-2000 is. The same would go for tanks. Right now, Russia produces, like I said, about 100 main tanks a month, and Germany maybe makes 5 to 10. But if Germany had to ramp up production and those Leopards came out, they would easily destroy the T-72, the T-80, the T-90, anything that Russia could throw. But really, who cares too much about artillery when we are in the 21st century? We have to think about air defenses, drone warfare, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence. Russia absolutely crushes Germany in each of these departments when it comes to pure scale, but when it comes to overall accuracy, Germany is the winner. And all of Germany's tech is interoperable with whatever else NATO can produce. So Germany doesn't even have to produce everything on their own to outmatch Russia in production, since they have tech that's interoperable with the tech of 31 other NATO countries. And even if there was some kind of weaponry that Germany needed to produce short of nuclear weapons that they were relying on other NATO countries for, they have such a diversified industrial base that in time they could probably make it on their own. So just think with me, Russia went from a civilian economy to a wartime economy in 18 months, and they were able to turn 200 billion of this industrial production, or at least a huge chunk of it, into military. What on earth would Germany be able to do with an $806 billion manufacturing base if they faced an existential crisis. But switching to a wartime economy, that's going to take a lot of oil, a lot of steel, a lot of explosive chemicals, rare earths, of course. Fortunately for Germany, they have a ton of steel and other metals, but they do import most of their iron ore from either Sweden or Brazil. But Germany does not produce their own oil. Russia definitely has them beat there. Most likely, America would make a killing selling their oil to the Germans so they can get to a military economy. And who would Germany be getting their rare earths from? Would it be from China? They are the world's largest refined rare earths producer. Or would it be Argentina, Vietnam, maybe the United States, maybe from whatever's gained in the Ukraine rare minerals deal? When it comes to overall prepared explosives, Germany is one of the top 10 exporters and producers of it. So are most of Germany's neighbors: Poland, Sweden, Norway, France. So economically, yes, Germany can completely pull it off. Now, the big question, I think, in everyone's mind who knows history is, how much will Germany be allowed to ramp up their military production before people start getting more scared of Germany than Russia? If Germany really does start to militarize even half as much as Russia, what will the spirit of the people be? Will it be more right-leaning, like a lot of us might be afraid of, or will it be more even-keeled and just a contain Russia at all costs kind of strategy? But even that can backfire. This question needs to be asked because when a country starts militarizing, either for defensive or offensive reasons, you do have to cultivate a spirit of nationalism. My family has suffered from overzealous German nationalism in the past. All that being said, I think a strong Germany is better for the world. I think they've come a long way in the past 80 years. I am the Geo Hussar. Let's hope that my optimism isn't misplaced.